He found a helmet in the junkyard, and froze as it said, "Welcome, Commander. You died 412 years ago." The junkyard stretched for miles across the desert, a graveyard of forgotten machines and shattered relics. Rusted starship hulls lay cracked open like bones, half buried in dunes of sand and ash. The air shimmered with heat, carrying the faint tang of ozone from broken power cells still leaking after centuries. Elias moved through the wreckage with a scavenger's practiced eye. He was lean, weathered by sun and hunger, his hands calloused from prying open scrap and stripping it for anything of value. Life on the edges of the outer colonies left no room for softness. He had found copper wire, a few intact power regulators, even an old pulse pistol that might fetch a week's food rations if he could get it working again. But as he dug deeper into the hollow of a collapsed carrier, something caught his eye. It was half buried in sand, sleek and oddly unmarred by rust. A helmet, dark, seamless, and heavy, etched with markings he didn't recognize. Unlike the junk around it, this one looked alive, as though it had been waiting. Elias brushed away the sand and lifted it. The surface was cool, humming faintly under his fingertips. He turned it over, frowning. Then, without warning, the visor flickered to life, bathing his face in cold blue light. A voice, smooth, mechanical, but disturbingly warm, spoke. "Welcome, Commander. You died 412 years ago." Elias froze. The awakening. His first instinct was to drop the thing, but his fingers wouldn't obey. The helmet gripped his hands like magnets, refusing to let go. "What did you just say?" he whispered. The voice repeated, patient and unwavering. "Welcome back, Commander Eric Valen. Status: deceased in battle year 3519. Current date: 3931. You have been restored." Elias's heart hammered. He wasn't a commander. He wasn't even old enough to imagine that kind of time. Just a junk scavenger on a dead world. "You've got the wrong man," he muttered. "Retinal scan confirms identity," the helmet replied. "Commander Valen. You fell leading the 7th Fleet against the Zytherian Hive. Mission incomplete. Awaiting orders." The words meant nothing to him, at first. But deep inside, something stirred. A flicker of images not his own, towering warships, the clash of burning skies, the thunder of orders shouted over comms. His stomach lurched. "No," Elias whispered, clutching his head. "That's not me." But the memories didn't stop. Fractured memories. 4 days after, Elias kept the helmet hidden in his shack at the junkyard's edge. He told no one. Every time he put it on, more visions came. Battles. Fleets at his command. The Hive, shadows of alien chitin, claws rending steel, their endless screeches echoing across the stars. And always, the end, his death. Explosions tearing his ship apart, fire swallowing him whole, and then, silence. But the helmet insisted he hadn't died. Or rather, that he had, and been brought back. "Your neural patterns were preserved," it explained in its calm, eternal voice. "This body is a clone. Restoration sequence activated upon recovery." Elias stared at his hands, trembling. He'd always thought the scars and strange marks across his skin were from accidents as a child. But what if they were remnants of something else? What if he wasn't Elias at all? The choice. The helmet spoke more each day. It told him about the 7th Fleet, about the war that had once raged across the stars, about the Zytherian Hive, creatures that consumed worlds. "Humanity's survival depended on you," it said. "You carried the last great counterstrike. Without you, we fell silent." Elias shook his head. "No one talks about this war. No one even knows it happened." "Because they erased it," the helmet replied. "History rewrote itself. But the Hive still sleeps. And soon it will wake." The words chilled him. He wanted to throw the thing back into the sands, pretend none of it was real. But when he looked up at the stars at night, the memories burned in his skull. He could almost hear the hive stirring. "Why me?" he whispered. "I'm not a commander. I'm just nobody." The helmet's light flared. "You are Eric Valen. Whether you accept it or not, the war is not finished." Revelation. Elias began to change. His reflexes sharpened. He could fix machines he'd never seen before, pilot shuttles as though born to it. Other scavengers noticed, whispering that something about him felt dangerous. One evening, a band of raiders descended on the junkyard, demanding tribute. Normally, Elias would have fled or surrendered. But this time, when they raised their weapons, something in him snapped. He moved like a soldier, faster than he thought possible, disarming, striking, turning their own blades back on them. When it was over, 3 raiders lay unconscious in the dust, and Elias stood panting, horrified at what his hands had done without thought. The helmet's voice echoed in his mind. "You remember now. Your instincts are returning." "I don't want them," Elias shouted, hurling the helmet against the wall. It landed upright, visor glowing. "It does not matter what you want, Commander. The hive will rise again. And only you can stop it." The hive awakens. It happened a week later. Across the desert, beneath the bones of a long-dead warship, the earth split open. Black spires of chitin erupted from the ground, pulsing with foul energy. The hive was stirring. People screamed and fled as the first drones clawed their way into the light, towering insectoid beasts with jaws of iron and claws that carved through steel. Elias stood frozen, helmet in hand, memories screaming through his skull. This was the war. The one everyone had forgotten. The one he had died fighting. The helmet's voice was steady. "We are out of time. Take command." He slid it onto his head. Commander reborn. The world shifted. The helmet fused with his thoughts, its systems syncing to his nervous system. A HUD flared across his vision, tactical data streaming in real time. And then he felt them. Fleets waiting in the dark, long-buried drones of his own army, hidden for centuries beneath the sands, dormant until his return. "Welcome back, Commander Valen," the voice intoned. "The war resumes." Elias, Eric, stood tall, the last of his hesitation burning away. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. He was a soldier reborn, a leader returned. The hive roared across the desert. And with a flick of his hand, the ground split, and buried war machines rose in answer. Steel met chitin. Fire met shadow. And at the center of it all, the man who had died 412 years ago smiled grimly beneath his visor. Epilogue. The junkyard was gone, swallowed by fire and ruin. But across the outer colonies, whispers began anew. The commander had returned. The hive had awakened. The war that history had erased was about to begin again. And Elias, no, Eric Valen, knew one truth above all. He had died once before. This time he would not.